Here's another exciting video for you on the forms of nitrogen. This is going to be one of 3 videos I want you to see. I'm not quite sure how much you're paying attention in class at times, so I thought this might be a better way of presenting the material for you. But the expectation is to watch these and know what's going on. So the first one here is the different forms of nitrogen, which I've discussed a few times in class. And in no particular order, the first one here is atmospheric nitrogen. N2. All it is 2 nitrogen atoms held together very tightly. And I mean tightly, there's like triple covalent bonds. It's like super glued together. I don't expect you to remember any of the structures except the fact that nitrogen, which we breathe, which is almost all of what's in the atmosphere, it's 78% of the atmosphere, can't be used by many things. So even though it's very abundant, very few organisms can use it. So it's kind of useless to most things. Okay, nitrates, nitrate. It's NO3, and again, I don't expect you to know the structure, the formula. There's a nitrogen with 3 oxygens around it, and it's very common in fertilizer. So this is a form of nitrogen that most producers use. So plants, algae, green algae, they take this up through their roots or absorb it in, and this is how they make their own nitrogen compounds, primarily protein. Third one here is ammonia, and ammonia is basically a breakdown product that decomposes. When organisms die and fall apart, this is what's formed. And again, here's the structure: nitrogen and 3 H's, hydrogen, but we don't have to know that necessarily. But it's caused by this, again, this decomposition process, and then you kind of get this funky smell around roadkills. It smells like ammonia. Proteins, I've said a lot about proteins. Proteins do all kinds of amazing things. They form the hair and collagen, structural parts of your body, so you don't fall apart. They're transport proteins like hemoglobin, antibodies for protection. They also have to do with, in terms of muscle movement, the proteins there, all movement essentially, and of course enzymes, something you'll learn about catalysts. So very, very important form of nitrogen found in all different things. And remember, you can spell protein without an N, so nitrogen's there. Now, proteins are made from amino acids. A little extra bonus here, which I don't expect you to know, and I'm sure you've heard of amino acids. And this is actually what amino acids look like. There's an amino group on here, hence the term amino acid. But there is nitrogen there. And the last one, of course, is DNA. And most everyone's heard of DNA. It stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. And it's the genetic material that we all have. In fact, that all life has. It's this universal material. If you look at DNA very closely, you'd find that, yeah, there is this TACG, that stands for thymine, adenine, cytosine, guanine. This is really the genetic code of life, and these things happen to be, you guessed it, nitrogen. But again, all I want you to know is that it's an important form of protein. So here are the forms again. There's the protein, which does pretty much everything in your body. There's genetic information, DNA. There's nitrates, which is an important nitrogen compound that most producers use to take in and then form their own proteins in DNA. When these proteins break down, we produce a lot of ammonia. And lastly, the major form of nitrogen on this planet tends to be this stuff, N2, atmospheric nitrogen, which most people, or most organisms can't use. People certainly can't use it either. So those are the forms of nitrogen.